All right, good morning. So yesterday I made a unboxing video of the Drive-Thru RPG color premium hardback proof. That is right here, um, right here, and the box of all of our gift books that we're signing so we can ship them out also came, and I got them out. They look great, no damage, fantastic. So it's like the box obviously just popped open, and it looks like they were able to at least keep everything intact. No corners damaged, no dirt, no, it's beautiful. So I was sitting down here this morning getting ready to sign them so I can organize them to get them in the mail next week. And here's the deal. Uh, I noticed a couple of differences, and I thought, okay, I haven't really looked at them all thoroughly yet, right? I'm not going to flip through them all. I mean, I don't want to get, I want to be able to flip them open, make sure they're, quickly, make sure they're not, cattywampus or anything, and quickly sign them. I don't want them, handle them, and right. I want them to get them as if they are as new as possible, right? There's some peanut butter and jelly on a couple I can see here. Dell obviously was eating, looks like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So you'll have permanent fingerprints of Mr. Dell Branham, I think, on a couple of these pages. But it wouldn't be special if Dell didn't get his PB&J fingerprints on some of these, right? Anyway, and he might have done that on purpose for some of these people. I don't know. It might have been might be a subtle subconscious passive aggressive behavior. That's another video. Anyway, point is, so I'm writing Dell saying they're in good shape, everything's great, we're good to go. And he said, hey, uh did you notice one way that we can recognize why these things are occurring when all of our proofs, as Brian pointed out in the last video, it's hard to believe all of these books can be so different, but all good. Well, they are all good because this is POD, so print on demand. And until, as he said, until you see a mass, until you get a mass stack of 16, I've got 14 here. He has two. He kept his two, but he got the stack of 16. I got the stack of 14, and you can see the difference in every book. So let's put it this way. I think I've been thanking God for print on demand services for 12 years because it allows me to get all of these amazing RPG books from people who would have never had an opportunity to publish, because print on demand has made our hobby for sure democratic. I mean, it's democratic now, right? So people who had great ideas and great work that they had amassed would have never in a million years been touched by the publishing world, right? The publishers controlled everything, like music. And now with digital, with the internet, musicians, control their fate. Artists control their fate, and now writers and authors can control their fate. Obviously, one of the drawbacks of POD for the availability of these books on demand from the consumer, is you're going to see every print out, every batch that comes out maybe cut slightly different or awkward or off. And I'm looking at, like, at the top book, there's a little red ribbon. I don't want to overhandle these. Maybe I'll keep this one because I'm keeping one of these for me that's signed by Dell. There's a little red ribbon right here on the edge of the cover, right? You can't see it maybe, but the little tiny red ribbon on this one. Well, the very second one, no red ribbon on the cover at all, right? So you can just see when you flip through some of these, like this. Okay, here's this particular book, Every Bleed. I was just talking about how the Lulu books had a bleed thing. Look at that. So it hits the bleeds on every margin on this Lulu book. The proof book that Dell sent me, the top of the comic book pages don't make the edge. Go figure, right? So the consistency, this is, I mean, I haven't looked at these because I didn't want to handle them. Already, just flipping through that's the best version of the book I've seen right there. So that's good news because this is also the gift copies we're providing people. So you wouldn't know this unless you ordered bulk books. You would not know, So this explains why our proof book can look one way, our proof hardback slightly different, the drive through RPG for a book, and I think also bindings. This is bound differently than the paperback, I think, for drive through RPG, and then of course both hardbacks have different bindings, slightly different bindings. So I would argue the hardback is better for drive through RPG, the binding, I mean, and I would argue the paperback matte is better for from Lulu. So anyway, I just thought about this. Thank God for POD, but there's a trade-off for this level of affordability. There's a trade-off for being making the publishing business democratic, right? Authors, independent authors, etc. And what's great with POD is it's affordable for authors to provide their work for good or ill, right? Like everything. The more democratic it is, the more there can be really bad stuff, and the more there can be truly amazing work. And that's just the luck. That's just the luck of the draw. But you're going to find some people that are publishing their work and they're not great writers. You're going to see some people publishing games that are a derivative, it's just not very good. But then you're going to see masterworks. I'm trying to think of the one years ago. Was it called Middle? I can't remember now. That I really wanted, and I just couldn't afford it. It was kickstarted. I want to say it was Middle Dark, or based on the like a fantasy British, and it had just a plethora of different fish in it. I cannot remember the name of that, but it was a series of beautiful hardback books, and I cannot remember the name of it now. I never did get them. I missed the Kickstarter, then I missed the opportunity. I think you can probably publish them and import them, publish them. Excuse me. I think you can still import those books from the company in Britain. I can't remember the name of it now. I really wanted it and could not afford it. And again, that was kickstarted by a small company, and it was an OSR, of course. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. Mark Kernow, I believe, had something to do with that, or at least Mark had purchased them, and I think he shared them years ago on in a Facebook group with us, and the quality of those books, and he might even have those on his YouTube channel. Um, Middles, shoot. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. The point is, Dell was right. You would think, what is the deal here? And then when you get 16 of them in a batch, and you see how they're all slightly cut different, they're all slightly, but we're talking that could be the covers are slightly cut different. It can mean like I can see here some of the books, the comics don't come to the right edge, right? Which means some of the right edge of these books is going to be a slight white. It's going to be a little white on that comic book page. But then I can see some where it clearly every comic book page meets the edge. So that's just evidence that it has nothing to do with our work. It has nothing to do with the quality of the files that we sent, that we created and sent to these companies. It's because those files are made. When we meet all of their guidelines and those books are submitted, Drive Through RPG flat tells us this won't fit. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be corrected. So Drive Through RPG will not just print any file. You have to meet all the printing guidelines. So we knew that they fit the guidelines. Once they accepted and we're good to go, we knew they fit. So that's what's weird when you then get, you get a paperback and it's close to the gutters and you realize, well, maybe it's just the process of that type of book. And it's new for me, right? I've only purchased single books. Well, not single. Sometimes I'd buy two if I wanted to gift one or keep one for collection. But in that sense, you get them and sometimes you would notice there'll be something, but I'm not that. I wouldn't necessarily scrutinize my OSRs whether they were perfect or not, because it was the content that I wanted. It was in a book, the content of the thing, right? And I never expected something like Labyrinth Lord, for instance, to be beautiful. I just expected it to be what I grew up with in an acceptable, cheap form. Dragon Slayer now, right? If I eventually get that hardback book, I expect that to be pretty damn good for a number of reasons, right? Our book, of course, I expected the quality to be enough that I can say this is worth collecting, this is worth owning, even if you don't like our game or you don't really like the Dark Ages. But and I knew all the hard work that we had all put into it. I definitely wanted there to be a physical representation out there that reflected what we wanted in quality and style, etc. And I think we've achieved that. But I thought this was fascinating, and I would pick them up and show them all differently, but I don't want to handle them. Literally, I'll flip through them, make sure there's no damage anywhere, and I'll sign them. But I just don't want to overhandle these books. They are a gift, and I'd like them to get them in the best shape possible. So the reality is, it's eye-opening. Gives you an idea that, oh yeah, unfortunately, some people might get one and say, "What, dude? What's up with your comic book page with a white stripe at the top?" And we're the ones that are going to complain to on Drive Through RPG. We're the ones that we're going to get the complaints. Um, uh, and that's fair, I guess. But the reality is, some of it is completely outside our control. So I thought I would share this video. The POD business is new to us, and it's interesting when you think, oh, next we'll learn lessons here. Next time we'll make sure that everything's. Turns out we are right on, right? Because many of these books, like the first one I just picked up here, the book is all of that is exactly right. The cover itself has a little red stripe on the right side. But then the two books under it cut perfectly. So I'm sure these are machine cut. They're clearly not cut by they're not, these aren't handmade books, so to speak, right? So I don't know. It's fascinating. But I'm happy Dell kind of mentioned that, because I was kind of befuddled by how is it that the exact same files are producing 3 different books, right? And then for me, it's like, oh, it must have something to do with the binding. I think it's just the luck of which one you get when you order one. So anyway, I don't know if other people are, I don't know if other publishers are as candid about this process. Probably because I'm first a customer and a fan of our hobby. I'm first a loyal OSR and a loyal hobbyist, and I enjoy the customer. I enjoy being. So maybe it's because I am first and foremost a consumer, and second a publisher. I would not, if I got any of these books in the mail, I wouldn't go, what the hell? And I wouldn't say, that's just, no, I would have been thrilled with every book. I have been thrilled with every book I got. So, but I just thought it's kind of interesting. I don't know if anyone really scrutinizes it or understands that it may not always be the author and the publisher that's responsible for, something up with the book. And I think some people know that, but it is interesting. I didn't get all 16. I got 14 here, but as Dale pointed out, you just wouldn't know until you had 16 to flip through and sign, right? That they're all a little different. It's like they're all unique, right? We could have numbered these, right, as a collection and had them numbered, right? And they would all be truly unique in a way, which is in a way that's kind of cool when you think POD is potentially mass printing as people order and buy things. And the irony is you're technically getting an original, right? It's kind of cool, right? Every POD that comes out. All right. The point is, the gist of this video, long way around. Thank God for POD, because it's allowed me to have some of the best game books I've ever had in my life. And some of them you get, and it's jaw-dropping, and thank God that our hobby's not dominated by 2 big companies. It's like video games. I mean, imagine if only the 2 biggest corporations in the world make video games. It's complete monopoly, and you're screwed. You only get the shit they make for you. You wouldn't get many of these great independent small company games, right? Same thing with role-playing games. And you have to, I mean, it makes it difficult to probably break in. I mean, that means there's going to be a lot of people that the word of mouth is going to have to move Dark Age of Man, and hopefully positive critiques and reviews in the community, because there's a lot of books on Drive Through RPG to peruse, and it's difficult with a simple write-up and a simple preview to convince somebody that Dark Age of Man is worth your $19, right? So that's one reason why we wanted to offer a PDF from day one, so it's affordable, and so people can see this is something I would like to own in hardback. So the PDF, in a way, is that's another way that people can, if they play it and they get it and they like it, they want to play it, then they would decide whether they want to own it as a collection. And I think all of these services are good for our hobby. They're good for business. They're good for creators, and they're good for consumers. Competition dude, that's what it's about. And this is why I don't complain about Dragon Slayer's price. Um, that's, I mean, there are people who are going to buy Dragon Slayer no matter what the price. And there are people who are going to say it's well worth it. And there are people who are going to say, I can't do that and I'll buy something cheaper. Right. So, this is why competition is good. And this is, I have truly seen some remarkable work in the OSR, Swords and Wizardry, Castles and Crusades, Dragon Slayer. I had a couple of others that I blew my mind. I mean, they were on the level of Paizo in quality, and I can't remember the name of that OSR now. And it was a pretty penny, and I eventually traded all of those books into Wayne's books. But it was at that time, it was probably the highest quality OSR I'd ever seen, including Pathfinder. And I cannot remember the name of the damn game now. That's how many I've had. So anyway, thanks for watching this, and I will not keep you any longer. Good day.